The man who didn't just witness the IT revolution, but was the architect of one of its most legendary
A
turnarounds.
lot of hullabaloo around this AI thing. Honestly, it's not something that is, come around the block yesterday. And this mattress shop, they call it AI mattress.
Oh,
So,
how interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
so times are changing. So we shouldn't be competing, we should be collaborating. Danger is a very subjective word, Lipika.
Okay.
Seriously.
Ah.
If you don't know how to swim, then getting into the water is dangerous, right?
You have been associated with something that has been assisting Hollywood and Indian movies, Indian cinema for a long time.
They're the largest VFX company in the world, having won 8 Oscars. When
Yeah.
you're shoved into a corner, you have no money, you don't know what to do, you get into the do or die situation. No? A boy on the street who has doesn't know where his next meal is going to come from is very daring. He's giving me so much, I'm working. The guy is giving me more, I'm working there. I have no attachment. It's 15% of the startups will succeed. 85% fold up. You only hear the success stories, you never hear of the soft stories. As a leader, you impart your wisdom and gather their knowledge. It's a two-way street. This boy has been very, very perseverant, very, very committed. I think we'll get good service from him and his company. So let's close the deal today.
Dev's journey is a masterclass in what it takes to build, break, and rebuild for the future. Uttishthita Jagrita Prapya Varanni Bodhat. Arise, awake, and strive for knowledge. नमस्कार. हमने लोगों को जीरो से हीरो बनते देखा है, बट कंपनीज की जीरो से हीरो बनने की कहानी इंडिविजुअल्स के साथ टीम्स, परिवारों और देश के अपलिफ्टमेंट की भी होती है. टुडे we are joined by a titan of the Indian tech industry, S. Devarajan. Dev, the man who didn't just witness the IT revolution, but was the architect of one of its most legendary turnarounds. As the former managing director of Tata Elxsi and later Cisco India, Dev's journey is a masterclass in what it takes to build, break, and rebuild for the future. ये सिर्फ एक कॉर्पोरेट हिस्ट्री नहीं है. It's a manual on survival, a blueprint for innovation, and a masterclass in leadership. In an era where most Indian firms were playing it safe, Tata Elxsi was busy sweeping Steve Jobs off his feet and building the tools that powered Hollywood's biggest blockbusters. From the high stakes risk of a $3 million investment in 1979 to becoming the crown jewel of the Tata Group, this story is about the grit that turns losses into a legacy. आज हम उनकी किताब डिजाइन टू विन पर चर्चा करेंगे और जानेंगे द इंडिया एआई स्टोरी का सीक्रेट, स्टार्टअप्स की रॉ रियलिटी और क्या चाहिए एक कंपनी को कोलैप्स से यानी कि खत्म होने से रिवाइव करने के लिए. आइए चलते हैं. So welcome Devarajan sir. We are delighted to have you at the Indic Pen.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lipika. It's nice to get together again.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. We've just concluded the AI summit in Delhi.
Yeah.
And this was the first, so to say, in Bharat.
Mhm.
And you have been part of this industry, the IT industry, for long enough for me to ask you this question and begin the conversation with it,
Sure.
which is, what is the real AI story right now for India? I mean, how do you view it? Where are we at this standpoint? क्या इंडिया एक जिस तरह का एक इम्प्रेशन क्रिएट कर रहा है, द काइंड ऑफ इम्प्रेशन दैट इट्स ट्राइंग टू क्रिएट थ्रू दीज समिट्स, आर वी रियली आउट देयर, वी आर देयर to compete with international organizations?
So I think there's a lot of hullabaloo around this AI thing. Honestly, it's not something that is, come around the block yesterday. It's been there for a while in different avatars. Just to give you a snapshot, I used to work for a Tata company way back in 84, 85. Before I joined Tata Elxsi, I was there with them for 9 years.
Mhm.
And it was a company promoted by Tata's AP government, Andhra Pradesh government, because those days to manufacture, the licenses were only with the state governments.
Correct.
So AP government, and there was this gentleman from Pittsburgh called Dr. Raj Reddy. His title in the in 82, 83 was Dr. Raj Reddy, Professor Dr. Raj Reddy, Director AI and Robotics, Carnegie Mellon University.
Wow. Way back in the early
Yes,
80s.
yes.
In fact, I was about to ask you then,
Yeah.
when did this really start?
So I don't know when it started, but I can go back up to 84, 83, 84,
Wow.
when he was already a director of, and he was and is today, he is about 86, 87. I heard him a year ago in Bangalore. He addressed an audience and he talked about AI and all that stuff. And he also said the same thing. We all talk about it. Now everything is going to be around AI. Like the other day, I was in Bangalore. We were walking down one of these busy market areas, and this mattress shop. So mattress shops, you heard of memory foam mattresses, right?
True.
They call it AI mattress.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
so times are changing. So
But do you see that we are somewhere up there competing with other superpowers when it comes to a technology like this?
I wouldn't say we shouldn't be competing. We should be collaborating,
Okay.
because this is a field which is now got the right kick and momentum to grow. So I believe the big tech companies, the governments will all come together. Nowadays, most of the things are being done very collaborative. Some Indian companies would have some edge, multinationals will have some edge. But overall, I think there's a very, very big collaboration that's going on. Even if you look at the semicon manufacture, there's so much of collaborative effort that's going on. Though it is anchored in India a lot today, but the multinationals are collaborating with us, not so much competing.
Competing.
I think the world is changing. Yeah, competitive edge is important, but collaboration is also equally, makes us more resilient.
Of
right?
course. And in fact, that would automatically bring me to the question and probably have you delve more into Maya. But before I do that, there are two very important questions that for a younger audience is always a trigger question.
Uh-huh.
One of them is the dangers of AI, and the other is whether people are going to lose jobs.
New jobs.
So tell me about that, because that is the most important and the most prevalent danger of
See,
AI.
danger is a very subjective word, Lipika.
Okay.
Seriously.
Ah.
I don't know what is danger, because if you don't know how to swim, then getting into the water is dangerous, right? And if you're blind, sorry to use the wrong example, crossing the road without
Would
help
be a
is
danger.
dangerous. But then AI is not dangerous. It's a tool. Like, it's an intelligent tool that is going to help us do better in our lives, right?
But do you
So
see
if you
it
take
taking away jobs?
autonomous cars, driverless cars, it's all AI driven, no? So is it dangerous? Yeah. On Delhi and Bangalore roads, it
It
could
is.
be.
True. And which is why they've not introduced
Introduce
it
it
yet.
here. But it's a very subjective thing. But according to me, these are all leaps of generations in technology, which includes AI. When computers came in 30 years back into this country, everybody said, oh, we are going to lose jobs. Everything is automation and we're going to lose jobs. How many jobs the world has created because of computers? The whole software tech industry,
Is
in
built
this
on
country is
that.
because of
True.
computers. I think you created more jobs than lost. So I wouldn't subscribe to that line
And do
of
you
danger.
think AI will ever become smarter than humans?
You never know.
So that is a danger
Because
which
they learn from you and they keep learning. They learn from you, they learn from me.
for
So they
several
could have
from
a
several
brain
heads,
of both of us in there.
100 brains in
Yeah,
one.
yeah. So difficult to say, but there have been books written on
Of
how
course.
computers have taken over the human beings. So
And American movies always
Yeah,
have
yeah,
them being
the
taken over
ultimate.
by
Ultimate.
taken over by technology.
Yeah,
But
which
that,
is as old. Again, this goes back to 1970s.
of course,
Yeah,
with
if you
ET
see,
and all, yeah.
no, 2001, A Space Odyssey.
Ah, yeah, true,
Stanley
true.
Kubrick's.
Fantastic movie, yeah, yeah.
This
So
guy,
they've been already thinking of
where
what.
the computer took over the humans there,
True,
right? in outer space.
True. So at least 40 plus years of my life so far, computers haven't taken over the space. But
Yes.
let's see. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll
So
get to
let the
watch.
luck prevail.
We'll get to watch more Hollywood and Bollywood movies
Correct.
now. But that brings me to the question, because uh, you have been associated with something that has been assisting Hollywood and Indian movies, Indian cinema for a long time, and that's the 3D and virtual reality that you work through.
VFX.
VFX and all that, those are the technologies that these areas have been using, I think
Extensively.
from several decades now, if I'm
About 3 decades.
about 3 decades
In India,
now.
at least. Yeah.
And to the extent jahan pehle actors ko they had to, if they had to be shown decades apart in their roles, they had to be made into,
Yeah.
they had to put on makeup to
Makeup,
look younger, and then
prosthetics, and all that. Yeah.
prosthetics and all, but now it's no longer required.
Right.
Tell us something about that, because I don't know if I'm allowed to mention, but the last conversation we had, you were very excited about this forthcoming movie Ramayan, and I think that's where the technology is being used again extensively, like quite like any other movie these days. But this entire journey started with Maya.
Right.
So why don't you tell us about how that journey happened? Because that journey also involved one of these big business leaders getting excited about seeing Maya
Right.
being applicable on.
True that.
Yeah.
So let me talk not about Ramayan, because I
Okay.
don't own the copyright.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
IP is not mine.
Yeah.
And neither is Maya's. But Maya is something it's up my sleeve. It's down my alley. So let me talk about Maya. So let me go back into history a bit. This is a company, actually, there was a company out of Canada, Toronto, Canada, which were the pioneers in 2D and 3D animation. And we at Tata Elxsi decided that animation is going to be one of our business verticals that we are going to strategically take forward in India. So I went and had a discussion with them and said, why don't we carry this product, integrate it with all the good hardware, high-end graphics hardware, and sell it to the animation business, create the animation studios in India. So that's what we did. And in the process, north, south, east, west, no, not east, north, south, west, we created animation studios. Prasad Productions in the south,
Yeah.
Annapurna Studios, Ramoji Film City, Western Outdoor, UTV. People like Ronnie Screwvala used to sit in our office and play with the computers to see whether it's the new generation is worthwhile or not. So those kind of interactions we used to have with the celebrities then. And Prime Focus, Namit Malhotra, he is son of Naresh Malhotra, was a filmmaker. So Nareshji's son wanted to, at 25, he wanted to start something. So Boys Toys, he started developing on animation. We provided him all the solutions. And then company grew. They became the #1 in the country. They acquired a British company called DNEG, stands for double negative. And the combination was absolutely fireworks. They're the largest VFX company in the world, having won 8 Oscars. So all this, actually, the Maya was the, Alias Animator, Alias Studio. These were the products that we used to integrate. Then when we went into services from system integration, we said, let's look at the overseas market, the global market. I was thinking, why not talk to our existing software providers? Easy gateway into getting some business from them. That was the intent. And that was a time when our PCs had very powerful graphics. All the NVIDIA graphics chip was put on a PC. So the PC 3D graphics and all became very powerful, which was not so till then. So I was thinking, suppose, and that NVIDIA graphics was a similar graphics to what we used to use on our workstations, the same graphics processor actually, which was brought down to the PCs. So I said, this is a very easy marry. So why not I talk to Alias in Toronto, say, why don't we port that Alias software from $50,000 workstation where it runs now to a $5,000 PC, and look at the market demand we can create globally, not only for India, and the number of licenses they can sell. It's a huge market advantage and
So
opportunity.
basically addressing it through volume.
Volume game. And then I met up with the CEO of Alias Wavefront, a gentleman called Rob Burgess. I heard he passed away just last year. And he said, sounds like a good idea. I know you guys have worked with us for so many years and we are very happy with all that. But unfortunately, you guys sit in India and we don't want to kind of share the source code and the programs with you. It's the only IP we as a company own and we don't want to kind of lose it.
Why was that fear there? Was it because it was
India was
India?
not so hot in outsourcing in all those days.
In those days,
We're talking about mid 90s. It was there, but not for technology. It was all banking and BPO and all those kind of things were very prevalent, but not in the technology space. And this is pure intellectual property, na? So then he said, I said, okay. Then we started chit-chatting. Then somewhere it was niggling in his head. So I said, why don't you talk to the program manager of this company? And he's an Indian, by the way, and see what he has to say. I said, yeah, I'll have a chat with him. He fixed up a meeting with him. And I said, I'll circle back with you tomorrow. So this guy I met, a guy called Nagendra. And then I asked him, where are you from? He said, I'm from Bangalore. I said, okay, I'll store that. And then I took him out for lunch and we were chatting over lunch. And he said, I said, Nagendra, this is what I proposed to your CEO, but he's afraid of the IP disruption. And only way I can solve it is, you said you are from Bangalore. Then I found out that his parents live in Bangalore. His wife is from Bangalore. He said, why don't you transfer yourself to Bangalore for 2 years? We'll work on this program. I will give you office space in Tata Elxsi. I'll give you the resources. I'll give you the people, the team to work with. You just come as a program manager. And we will do the sporting on a PC. His eyes widened. Parents is, I said, how old is your son? He said, my son is some 13, 14. I said, don't worry, I'll get him school admission also. We can do that. We have that much clout. He was very happy. Then next day we went and told, both of us went and met the CEO. And CEO said, yeah, that sounds like a brilliant idea. Give me some time, I'll come back to you, but let me work around this whole thing. And within 3 months, I'm not getting into the details, the paperwork, everything was done, legal contract, and Nagendra shifted with family. And the work was going on. I said, you will be one floor below my office so I can, keep track of you guys and don't worry and all that. And I used to go once 3-4 days, see what's going on. And we're a team of 40 people. And within about 12 months, this product was ported and worked like a, dream on the PC. And guys in Toronto also were very happy. And then I said, Nagendra, we should celebrate. Let's go for dinner. We're having dinner. And he said, I said, something we should do. What do we call this? We can't call it Alias, Animator, so insipid. And, engineering, the name sounds. No? So he said, let's call it give it an Indian flavor, Indian touch. So we both talked and said, then we decided, why not Maya? After all, it's an illusion. No? So he said, that sounds good, but I have to get it ratified by my corporate office and legal and blah, blah, blah. So went through the thing. But then 2-3 weeks, Maya was christened, So it was so beautiful an occasion for us. It's a product which came out of our office. And that's the only product which has got an Oscar.
Wow.
Yeah. See, people get Oscars.
People get Oscar.
Technical Oscars you get, not for a product. So, and 20 years on after Maya, it still is one of the primary product used in all animation software, all animation companies and studios.
There are so many things that come from this little anecdote that you shared. One.
Doesn't end there.
Yeah, I know.
Should I finish?
Yeah, okay. Please. No.
So then,
hold my thoughts.
Then this guy, Nagendra and Toronto, they all talked about it and how to proliferate this outside the PC. So he was telling me, I'm going to send a demo disc. Those days we used to send CD disc, no?
Yeah, CD disc.
Demo disc to this company called Apple Computers, sort of California. And let's see what I said. Don't waste your time. A small company, $1 billion company, and they have these lousy products for publishing and all that. What are you going to do? He said, sent it to him. No, he said. Then prompt came a reply from Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs said, I'm really enamored by this. We must have a discussion. And I want it on our Mac. So Nagendra said, I'm going to give a demo to him because it's a huge opportunity. Why don't you come along, Dev? I said, Steve Jobs, small company, who's Steve Jobs? He was not even a name to be reckoned with.
True.
You know, so I said, you go, take my techie along, so he will help you with all the demo shemo and all that. And he went with him, and they gave a fabulous demo. And then Steve Jobs wanted it in the Worldwide Developers Conference of Apple, which was happening a month later with some tweaks and bells and whistles, because it had to be
This
quickly
was when
ported on
Apple
the.
wasn't a household name.
Yeah, not at all, not at all.
Ah.
And Steve Jobs' jaw just dropped when he saw that demo. He says, I'm shipping 11 computers, Macs to you guys, and I want the Maya on Mac. No?
Okay.
So that also happened.
Ah. No, so I mean, it's very interesting because every anecdote you share, even in conversations, otherwise, makes me think of several things that, uh, as a founder, probably of a very, very, very small company, but as a founder, they are so enriching. Uh, but here, there were two, three things that came up. One was the trust factor. When you are representing an organization from a country which does not have that trust, the country, so to say, does not have the trust for any other organization in any other country to start
Right,
sharing
right.
IPs, the thing that you said. What do you think worked for building that trust really, apart from the fact that you took them out, for.
No, that was just a
Yeah,
transactional
yeah.
thing.
That's what I
That's
want to
not strategic at
understand.
all. Very
Because
tactical.
today, when people think that trust could be built over a cup of coffee, what does it really take for an organization, a very large organization or whatever size organization sitting abroad, to uh, start sharing something? Because we see it a lot more now happening. We see lot many more companies sharing,
Yep.
infrastructure, sharing intelligence, and sharing whole lot of technological knowledge that they have, and building it up here in India. And I think that is what this particular current regime is also trying to push
True,
for.
true, true.
But what does it really take to build that trust in times of adversity when you're not really the to-go region for certain
So
things?
let me slip in a little analogy here.
Okay.
I always, my work and my life, we say work life balance, I think it balances each other. So I always believe that whatever happens in your home place is a reflection of what happens at the work and vice versa.
Right.
So, how do you build trust at home? Take. Sorry to get personal,
No,
but
not at
between
all.
you and your spouse, your husband, what is trust? How did that trust happen? Because of a relationship, right? You first build the relationship,
True.
and then over time, it's not. I mean, I'm sure when a newly married couple, the spouses don't get into a trust mode from day one,
Day one.
right?
It has to be built
Yeah,
and
it's built.
nurtured.
It
Yeah.
becomes stronger, 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 and stronger. So I think that relationship is the foundation to build trust. Anywhere between you and your child, you know, any two individuals, there has to be a relationship which is a strong, tug of war kind of rope that is built, which unbreakable. Then you walk on that, and that becomes a trust factor.
And then the other thing that you talked about was the people. I mean, importance in understanding that any relationship, even corporate relationship, is beyond the four walls of
Yeah,
the
it is. It
office.
is.
And that's when you shared the anecdote about how you took that. I mean, you found out that his parents and wife were here, and you felt that,
Yeah,
there would be a natural inclination for him to come here and settle down and feel
correct.
comfortable and then work
Yeah,
peacefully.
yeah.
Uh, you have yourself been a leader, leading organizations. You have had the opportunity and access to some of the biggest founders in the world, both at that time, probably Steve Jobs may not have been that big.
Yeah, yeah.
But he built this
Absolute,
major
absolute. Yeah.
empire. And similarly, Ratan Tata. You have had the opportunity of interacting with FC Kohli.
Right.
So, what do you see is that one common thing among all of them that you feel gets them to build organizations that last beyond their own lives and legacies?
See, you have to create that foundation and a web of culture. See, I think the cultural fabric is key to an organization. And if you create that web of culture, at the same time, you create that strategy for the organization, a direction, Vision, everybody talks about. I'm not even talking about vision. Vision is a very abstract thing. A strategy is beyond that abstract. So you have created the direction for your company and you have created that culture web. Culture web, I'm sure you know what a corporate culture, home culture, what did your grandmother make on Diwali day, My grandmother used to make this, so my mother made this, so I am making this, and tomorrow my children will make that. These sweets are made in our house.
True.
So that is familial culture. Corporate culture is the stories again laid down over the years. How we started, how we struggled as a company, how we couldn't do what we wanted to do. And then, those stories start percolating, and it is important to keep it percolating so that bonding goes up and down within the organization.
And it becomes part of their DNA.
Yeah. So you say, oh my God, this is what happened. So when we launched my book recently, I went back to Tata Elxsi after 25 years. There was a bunch of them who knew that. But what I realized is a lot of them didn't know that. So I actually relived my days with them. And after that, the CEO also told me that it's so different. People are really, really enamored about this company. So that it's important to very, with much discipline, ensure that the culture is disseminated and passed down. So that creates trust, that creates a relationship, that creates that whole fabric. And then on top layer, you say, okay, this is what we want to do as a company. This is where we'll go, and we will not stop till we reach there.
To the point that at one point, Tata Elxsi was in losses, and Ratan Tata himself said that what is the use of running the company? Let's shut it down. And
no, he didn't say shut it down.
Let's change the name and even if we have to.
He said not shut it down. He said if you don't improve, we'll have to shut it down.
Yeah. What made him still continue with your idea and your conviction, and what do you see that part? How do you view that part of it for a founder who's invested
anybody,
in the organization?
But need not be founder. Anybody. If I'm able to tell you something convincingly, and you accept it convincingly, you'll be okay with me, right? So that's how it works. So he had some apprehensions. I convinced him why he shouldn't have those apprehensions, and that things can change for the better, and how it will change for the better.
You had your roadmap ready.
Yeah. So he said, yeah, let's try it.
But that was a daring roadmap you had. You moved to a very, very different, you were into...
Yes, Lipika, when you're shoved into a corner, you have no money, you don't know what to do, you get into the do or die situation, no? So you start getting more bold and daring, no? Yeah. See, a boy on the street who doesn't know where his next meal is going to come from is very daring.
True.
While in the comfortable seat in the studio, you're not daring, right?
But then that is not only just you. There were a whole lot of employees in that organization who were to also be convinced and believe in your
we took
vision.
Them along, you tell them the story, share your culture, share your story as to what you want to do. Shall we do something which is not being done by any other company in the country today? Can you raise your hands? And the whole bunch raised their hands. Let's do different. And we'll be different. To the
extent that you didn't have the money to even pay their salaries.
I didn't even have an idea as to what you have to do. You just said we will do different. That's it. Because Mr. Tata said at the CEO's conference, be number one or number two in the business you're in, or don't be there. So I said, if I have to be number one or number two, I have to do something which others are not doing. because they're already number one, two, three, four, five.
Before we move ahead, just a small reminder to hit the subscribe button. So you were talking about the culture of an organization that trickles down and that creates that conviction right from top to bottom
True.
to carry on, even in adversity. Uh, so there is a culture of belonging that we understand that comes through storytelling. In this case, and
Right.
Tata has been cultivating it for a long time,
Right.
and other organizations like Tata have also been cultivating a similar this thing. But being an Indian organization, uh, and with so much of interest in startups these days, for something that has just come up, and even the people who come together are at it, many of these startups are being led by very young people.
True.
How do you see this culture of belonging translating into a much wider set of organizations who are just in the trial and error phase right now, where they have a very small team to begin with, and then they don't know where they are 10 years later, 20 years later, but they have this dream that they are following and chasing. How do you see this? There are organizations like Tata, Birla, Aditya Birla Group is a big organization. Tata's has had its own legacy.
Right. Mahindras.
Mahindras are there. They are all these Indian big
Huh.
conglomerates. But in on the other side, there are these smaller organizations that are coming up, smaller brands that are, some of them are doing really
Very well.
big
Yeah.
and they are
They caught
getting a
up.
lot of investments and all. How do you see this culture of startups taking shape in future? I mean, is it again something like that bubble that, the IT bubble that came and then, suddenly everybody found that it's not working?
So we're talking about the startups. Or you're talking about the culture.
We're talking about the startups and the
Startups.
kind of culture, because at the end of the day, what I understand from what you're sharing is there has to be a culture right from day one that needs to be developed in order for people to be able to translate the vision
Yeah.
into
So let me break that
action.
into two parts, because
Okay.
I have another serious point of view which I subscribe to very strongly. See what happened post COVID. See, during COVID, which was I think a huge setback for the whole world, everybody started working from home, right? And those 2 years, everybody worked from home. People said, yeah, productivity is fine. All that was going on. How they measured that productivity, don't ask me. But whatever was deliverable to customer was delivered. I'm talking about tech companies, basically. And then, moment things opened up, companies said, oh, efficiency was there. So why should we open up? Let people work from home. So they said, okay, 3 days a week you come to work. Other 2 days you don't have to come to work. So which 3 days you come, who comes on which of those 3 days is all abstract. You can come any of those 3 days. So I have been hired into the company the year COVID closed. Okay, to 2022, say. I got hired into the company as a fresh grad. I work 3 days at home. My boss doesn't come on the days I come to work. Okay. I don't know who my team members are. I never interacted with them. I've become an individual contributor, doing my work, going back, and I interact with some people on conference calls, video calls, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Where is my attachment? Where is that cultural fabric? How will I say that, I love this company, it's so dear to my heart. The team is so great and the bosses are so good. And when do you hear all that? Doesn't happen anymore. So
True.
the change is happening there itself. Because this whole compartmentalization of people, earlier they used to sit in a cubicle. Now that cubicle has a tall wall. No?
True.
Yeah, it's not 4 feet high anymore. So that's
but
scary.
how do you see that
I have
change?
seen, I wouldn't say young kids, even not so young kids, young men and women, friends of ours, who have no alignment to the company they're working. I'm working. I'm not looking for a career. So the career drive is going away. He's giving me so much, I'm working. The guy is giving me more, I'm working there. I have no attachment. It's I work for money, mercenaries, no?
True.
I shouldn't be quoted on that, but that's how it's tending, no? If you see the trend, that's how it's going.
But then, how do you see corporates really?
Yeah, I'm worried. I mean, honestly, now get back to the startups.
Mm,
See, startups, that's the way it is going to be. 15% of the startups will succeed. 85% of the,
only
yeah, that's it.
15%.
That's a rule of thumb.
Mm.
85% fold up. You only hear the success stories. You never hear of the sob stories.
Mm.
So that's what happened. Worldwide. It's nothing to do with India. You know.
But again, coming back to the aspect of connecting both of them, but where there is a generation which has been brought up to this idea of not, working only for money and not really being connected with organizations. For big organizations, large organizations, it's still manageable.
Yeah.
But what happens to smaller organizations, that the startup culture, they have a different term for it now. It's a startup culture that they
Culture
talk
and
about.
see, they don't look at long term at all. No, they start up
Correct.
the company,
Hmm.
5, 7, 8 years. Once it's big enough, making money,
And they
I sell it
exit.
off and
Oh,
exit.
so
Or
no
if it's not
attachment to
making
the
money, I fold it
organization.
down and exit.
So basically, no attachment to
No
the
attachment.
organization. So in this scenario,
It's
how
all
do you?
contract. They all contract people. Like, I have a
Correct,
contract to make this work.
correct.
If it works, we sell, make money. If it doesn't work, shut it down, lose money.
But in this scenario, sir, then how do you see the next set of Tatas and Mahindras and Birlas, coming up? When you see a certain change, and you've seen change in generational change in the kind of people who've been employed by organizations, how do you see that tomorrow,
Yeah,
we'll
really.
have
See, my
another?
only concern is in the cultural fabric. The
Hmm,
work will go on. Work will go on. It's not you every day. It's you today. Tomorrow somebody else. No, but
true.
I wouldn't say the organization will suffer in terms of productivity because all these guys who come also deliver their
Hmm,
whatever they need to deliver. So that part will not get impacted. But
hmm.
maybe we have to change with the times. So maybe that's
That's the
what
only.
what worked from the last 100 years.
Hmm.
These big business houses, corporate culture, all that work. Maybe it's a
It
change.
now,
You change everything and you only measure productivity, outcomes. You invest and what do you get for that investment. So it changes. No? The
so for a.
model may be changing and we are not able to adapt to that change. Some of
Right,
us,
right.
many have adapted.
For a business leader, how important it is to adapt to a change, because I see that, and you would have come across, and it's not just about people changing of the attitude and the kind of people who are being hired, but everything. There is a constant change in your economic environment, in your technological environment, especially in technology. It's like today something's come up, tomorrow it
Correct.
becomes obsolete. So what does it take for a business leader to be able to uh, maneuver through that change and still continue the organization?
See, as far as technology is concerned, as a tech person, as a person who's run tech companies, I can say that is something that you have to keep abreast with.
Mm,
You have to be constantly in the thick of what is happening, in the thick of what is changing, what is not changing, which direction is it going.
mm.
That is something we have to keep abreast. Even today, I don't do it as much as I used to do, but I'd like to at least do the headlines part. No, I may not do deep dive, but I should know where it's going. Otherwise I sit on half a dozen boards. I can't be justified in sitting there if I can't tell them what's happening.
What's happening?
At the same time, see, the people below you are very intelligent.
Of
Your
course.
team,
Mm,
they're smarter than you all the time because, like I used to tell, my chairman earlier, saying that 10, 15-year experienced managers we are not getting. Very difficult to hire them. All of them have gone to the US. Why do you want to hire those obsolete goons? He would tell me. Get freshers from the college. They know much better than that guy who's 15 years
was
old.
15 years.
I said, are you referring to me? I asked him once. So people below you are very
Much
smart. So you
smarter.
have to
Mm,
keep learning from them also. As a
mm.
leader, you impart your wisdom and gather their knowledge. So that's important. all the time. It's a two-way street. It's not
Right.
saying boss knows everything. He's not, taking a, avatarams to say that I know it all. No, yeah, you don't disseminate that way. You have to receive also. So
Very
you have to learn
interesting.
from them all the time. I do that. I used to do that all the time. Call for a team meeting. They'll brainstorm on a subject, and there are so many things they talk about which suddenly it sounds alien. They say, hey, come on, just do a 10-minute brief to the whole group as to what you're saying. In the process, I also pick it up.
And which is very evident from the point where you talk about removing the halo, where you used
Yeah,
to invite, other management
correct.
people into your board
Board
meetings.
meetings. Yeah.
Tell us a little about that. What kind of insight is a board looking for when they bring in, when you took that step of allowing something which is very kosher, where others outside
No,
the board are not allowed.
no.
You start inviting a regular employee into those meetings. What kind of change did that bring about in the decisions that the board was taking?
See, again, the board is a very important function in the whole corporation. So the board should not also feel that it's all, funneled information that's coming from the CEO and the CFO. There are only two people in the board meeting, right? And the company secretary is just doing the book work. So they shouldn't feel that I'm censoring stuff, only giving the nice paintings, putting it up there. The bad paintings, I'm not showing them. That impression should not happen. Create transparency. Finally, I believe in transparency, Lipika, because otherwise you can't do a good job for yourself. Your conscience doesn't allow you also.
True.
So I told my general managers or vice presidents, or as the case may be, head of each of these business units, why don't you tell the board what you're doing? They should also know, na? It's not Devarajan only, the board and
Talking to the board,
Devarajan
yeah.
and his team. Let them also be involved, no? So it's nice, no? They also feel good. They feel motivated. All the big wigs are there, and let's talk to them. And they make a great deal on the presentation. They do a good job. They put in their best, right from attire onwards. So it's a great feeling. Then you have a lunch
I'm
thereafter,
sure.
and they get to mingle. So that I used to do, and also later on bring the board also, down to their
The
level. No,
team meets.
let's all go
Yeah.
for picnics. No,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're so excited. Street food, A food, O food. No, and everybody playing games, singing Antakshari in the bus. So
Yeah.
it's a different thing.
But how does that change really the decision making process? Because that's more to do with money. A
Which one?
large part of it is to do with money
Huh?
and further investments, or so such close interactions at times between the different layers of an organizational structure with the board, uh, and this open interaction, does it also at times create a threat that something that was to happen might not happen because there is a very different kind of viewpoint coming from the, or do you think
If they
that
feel
leaders?
that, then it's the right thing to feel. Na?
Mm.
If there's a different viewpoint coming than what was told before, then something wrong with me.
So,
I hid the facts.
primarily, it's important for a leader to ensure that there is a very, very transparent and open
Yes,
system
otherwise,
there.
how can it work? Yeah, how can you make your corporation succeed when your agenda is different from the team's agenda and it's different from the board's
Board's
agendas? I
agenda.
mean, that's when scams start. No,
What is it really being like a boss? I mean, what kind of a boss one should be? And especially for people who are at top level managements, I'm sure they find their own set of issues, day to day issues, corporate issues, people issues from time to time. And I'm sure they are trying to find their ways around it. But in your experience of so many decades, what is it like being a boss? What kind of a boss one should be?
tough question. See, boss is a big title people give here. After all, it's the same person. I mean, before I was a boss, I was what I was. After I became the boss, I'm still what I am. So nothing has changed in terms of persona. The boss has a set of responsibilities which are different from his team has.
Right.
Right. So that's what differentiates the boss. I mean, just because I'm the boss, I shouldn't have somebody carrying my, briefcase into the office I won't carry my briefcase. Somebody carry it for me. You open the door of the car for me. That is the boss, you know. But why? You know, when you go home, what do? You just get into your car and drive, no?
Right.
When you get out of the office, one doorman should open your door. I said, no, let's
So
not do
these
that.
small little things actually matter
It mattered to
in.
me. Mattered to me.
Okay,
I,
but do they
I
also?
don't believe, huh?
But I'm sure it must be observed by others as well,
Yeah, yeah.
and that
People
does
observe the boss.
translate.
I'll tell you offline, but people observe the boss very, very dear. Mr. Tata has told me this personally, how people observe you. Yeah, he's told me.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah,
We have, I think, only enough time for one last question,
sure.
and that's going to be your personal question. That episode on the Tungabhadra River, and which has also been part of a philosophy that you talked about. Let's quickly, probably, I would want you to end with that episode and
Okay,
tell us what one should take away from it.
okay. To the viewers who don't know, this happened in the second year, yeah, second year of my job as a salesperson. You know, I was in Chennai, and there was this prospective customer who was in the remote city called Kurnool in Andhra Pradesh, now Telangana. And when I was in Chennai office of HCL, my beat was part of Tamil Nadu and part of Andhra Pradesh, which included this territory called Kurnool. So there was this large paper mill in Kurnool, and it was my prospective customer. So we exchanged a lot of information. He wanted to computerize his paper mill and all that. So we exchanged a lot of information, sent him a lot of options in terms of computerization methodologies and all that. And finally, he was kind of bought. Those days, there was no other way. You had to just post things. You know, there was no
True.
email. I'm talking about early 80s. You know, and finally, it came to a point where he was wanting a face-to-face discussion. If it was in Chennai or Hyderabad or something, you would have met him more often. But this was very, very remote. So I said, okay, I'm making this trip to Kurnool to meet my prospective customer. So I had to take a Chennai Bombay train. It started in the morning and reached Kurnool at about 7 in the evening. And then I had to take a rickshaw from the station to, I don't know where I was going. I just said, I need a hotel. So that guy cycled me through, and there were about half a dozen urchins running along me because I was the only guy with pants, shirt, and shoes
Yeah.
in that town. So they were all, you know, jeering, and I don't know what they were doing. They were all talking Telugu, so I didn't understand. Anyway, I went to this small-time lodge slash hotel, and I said I want a room. He said, attached or detached? Okay.
What did that mean?
Bathroom attached
Acha,
or
okay.
detached?
Okay.
So I said attached. So he gave me a room. Morning after a light breakfast, I was told that you have to cross the ferry, cross by ferry, the Tungabhadra River,
Tungabhadra River.
and the paper mill was on the other side. So I was there by about 9:15, 9:30 or whatever, and I found the ferry was not there. I was expecting it to come back because it was going up and down taking employees. So the security guy in the ferry station, he said, sir, ferry out of order. It is under maintenance. It will be coming only in the evening with the people. So I said, now how am I supposed to go? And I didn't know the language, and even Hindi was hard to come by in such a remote place. Finally, sign language and otherwise, he said, there's a guy who will take you by boat. I was quite okay. I said, boat. Then I went down the steps to the river end and found this big coracle, 4 or 5 feet in
Yeah.
diameter, made of cane and bamboo with some leather stuck on it for waterproofing or whatever. And suddenly I found, look that way, the river seemed wider than it was because of the coracle.
Of course.
I was so scared. Then he said, that guy summoned me inside. I just gingerly got in. I really had nothing in my head, nothing I thought. I just gingerly got inside. Then I said, best way is sit on my briefcase rather than, you know, my pants are all going to get wet. And that guy said, 2 rupees. I said, okay. And it took me in middle of the river. The damn thing started turning,
Circling.
circling, and I'm not too great on all these things. So, when I see a merry-go-round on the somewhere, I get dizzy. So I went to the other side finally, and wobbly I got out, and then they called for a jeep for me to go to the plant, and I went there and freshened myself and went to meet the CFO. He said, "Oh, you've come." I said, "Yeah." "How did you come?" I said, "By boat." "No, the ferry is out of order. It's under
Hmm.
maintenance." "No, no, sir, I came by
The coracle.
coracle." He said, "What?" And he just took off on me. He blasted me, and I was standing there, absolutely oblivious of what was going on.
Hmm.
And I never realized that I had bungled. I said, "Yeah, I had to meet this man. I've come to meet this man. Come what may."
But that talks a lot about not just persistence but extreme ownership.
Yeah,
You are
yeah. I
totally
fixed up.
into.
I've come all the way from Chennai. You know,
I won't go without
yeah, I want
meeting.
meeting him, and it looks like a hot deal now, so I have to do something about it. Then he blasted me. Then he said, "Okay, now sit down."
Hmm.
Got me some tea or coffee or something, and we chatted, discussed the proposal, threadbare. And he said, "Yeah, I think this is what we want, and we are happy with whatever you suggested. Shall we see if the MD is free? We can just drop in and say hello for 10 minutes." I said, "Okay." And I was a young kid, I was some 24 or something. MD and all, never met in my life. So he called us in about 15 minutes. Went there and met him. And he said, before starting the proposal, say, "How's the proposal?" or something he asked. So, this gentleman, this boy, he has come here by coracle, and this is what has happened. And the MD also blasted me. I said,
Hmm.
"Okay." Then we sat down and discussed again. He said, "Everything okay?" I mean, very superficially. "All well." I said, "Yeah, the proposal is okay." "Yeah, okay." CFO agreed to everything. And then he said, "I think this boy has been very, very perseverant, very, very committed. I think we'll get good service from him and his company. So let's close the deal today, give him a purchase order, and give him that advance, that check." So I was jumping inside me.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
But we still continue to see that salesman still in you,
Yeah.
all these decades later. You're so
Seriously.
persistent and so focused and so clear with
Thank
what
you.
you
Thank
want
you.
out of people.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
sir.
not
It's
at all,
been a
Lipika. It was a
pleasure meeting you,
thank
and
you,
there is
Lipika.
so much to
Likewise.
learn from you.
Thank you so much.
I
Anytime, welcome.
I just hope everybody picks that book. I recall the first time you and I had the conversation about what did you read in my book about, and I was like, I can't even begin to tell you what all I got from the book. Apart from your own personal stories, those anecdotes in itself are so enriching. Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
for
Lipika.
making time.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Every civilization has stories worth remembering. If you want to be part of reclaiming the Indic narrative, subscribe to this podcast right now and share it with those who value our heritage.